things will be quieting down. Things pretty quiet the western side of Allen County. To update you on that storm where Kaitor was, where we have the tornado warning in effect, that warning in effect until 5:30. Kaitor down here in Marion, where the storm is cleared. Now we're seeing that same storm in southwestern Wells County, northwestern Blackford County, still showing us the signs of rotation where the greens heading this way, the reds heading this way, producing that potential rotation, now moving a little bit farther to the east. Pinedo, this is getting closer to you. Pinedo, stay in your safe spot. We've been talking about you getting to safety since this tornado warning was
Nicholas,
issued.
we have a new information tornado warning now issued with that rotation. We just spotted on Live Doppler 15 Fury Storm Tracker a few moments ago. So tornado warning now for Allen County. This is now moving off to the, I'm sorry, it's located near New Haven, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour.
Yeah, excellent catch there on radar, Rob. Yeah, here we are, another. So now 2 tornado warnings in effect for the area with this latest warning, including the city of Fort Wayne, that storm located near New Haven, that tornado, radar indicated, near New Haven, moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. So, Rob, let's put a timing on that as this heads. You know, if you're in the Leo-Cedarville area, if you're around Woodburn, you want to take cover. Anywhere to the north of 24 on the northeastern side of the county, take cover. 525, Leo-Cedarville, Graybill, 526, Woodburn, 532, Antwerp, Ohio, 545 this evening, although the warning not yet into northwestern Ohio. It's right on the doorstep. And if this storm maintains its tornado-producing potential, it will move into northwest Ohio over the course of the next hour. Rob, let's get in really close on this one, and if we can, put in some streets and get some additional locations.
And just to clarify too, this is radar indicated, no reports of a tornado on the ground at this point in time, but this is still certainly something that we're most concerned about as we identify some of the roads here.
So here we are. This is around the St. Joe Center Road area. I-469 indicated right here. The rotation not yet at 469, but it is approaching the storm, moving to the northeast there. Santa Fe Trail, in between Santa Fe Trail and St. Joe Center Road on the northeastern side of Allen County, where we're seeing this rotation. Again now, a new tornado warning in effect, including parts of Fort Wayne, the northeastern side of the county, the northeastern side of the city of Fort Wayne, extending all the way up to Hicksville, Ohio, and down to the south around 24 where it enters Ohio. This is the tornado warned storm in effect, this warning until 5:45 tonight. We still have that second warning down in Grant County. That one goes until 5:30. Well, it's exiting Grant County now in Wells and Blackford counties. Again, this storm putting Graybill at risk, putting Antwerp, Ohio at risk. The same threats that we've seen with that storm in the southern part of our area exist here. That tornado potential, that potential at heavy, rapid rainfall that could be producing flooding. Of course, damaging winds. We've seen radar estimated winds with other storms this afternoon, anywhere from 50 to 70 miles per hour. The storms we're seeing this afternoon and evening pretty much carry every severe weather threat. That's why you want to take these storms seriously, take these warnings seriously. If you are in these areas, do not be heading out right now. Here is that storm down to the south. Again, this warning that we're seeing here that includes Pinedo and Montpelier that we've been talking about pretty much all late afternoon long here. That is in effect until 5:30 tonight, but it still is this very strong storm. So should we see this storm warning extended farther to the east, we could see a very strong storm in Pine Lake by the time we get to 5:45. Remember, with this storm down to the south, we have had confirmed reports of a tornado being on the ground and reports of funnel clouds as well as that storm entered that area. In Allen County, in Fort Wayne, it's only radar indications of a tornado right now, but that rotation is clearly noted here on the map. So when we're seeing a very narrow area with a bright green and a bright red, that indicates something potentially significant. A damaging tornado is certainly possible here. Whether it's making it to the ground, we'll have to wait for confirmation from law enforcement, from trained spotters. But right now, it's nothing to a risk. Stay inside the northeastern side of Fort Wayne, 69 to the east, 469 to the north. This storm moving to the northeast at that speed of 30 miles per hour. These are our latest timings. So 5:26 in Leo-Cedarville and in Graybill, 5:44 in Antwerp, Ohio. The storms that are out there this afternoon and evening, all showing up out ahead of a cold front. They're still well to the west. So more rain and thunderstorms are going to be headed in over the course of the evening, then more tomorrow. These are our two to note right now, this one in Allen County, in Fort Wayne, now with that rotation getting closer and closer to 469. But this storm and the storm that's to the south may not be our only severe storms of the evening. It's because we still have additional storm development off to the west. You can see a tornado warning to the east of I-65 right now. We're going to have to watch these to see what happens as the evening goes on. If we get additional severe storms, additional rain coming our way, that's a good bet. But right now, our eyes are on two locations. One right here with this storm in Fort Wayne. We're to the north of Krieger Park. You can see the indications of rotation still showing up. We're getting gusty winds. Remember, this is just to the south of 469 right now and the Maysville Road areas. Rain is picking up in Leo Cedarville as far as intensity goes. Woodburn, starting to see an increase in intensity by you. Look at this. I heard that, Rob, that sound from you. I echo it as well. What we're seeing here, the reason why you heard Rob let out that groan is because we're seeing this inflow notch. When we see this shape indicated on radar, that's a very good indication that a tornado is occurring at ground level. Right now, can't say anything more than just radar indications of a tornado, but you look, as we see this little notch, this little appendage, showing the air kind of wrapping into the storm. Again, we need that air wrapping in and the rotation to be formed to get a tornado to develop. And then when Rob puts the velocity tool on, you kind of can see it confirmed right in that area. We're getting new data coming in, so we're getting some new scans in, so that changes the location a little bit. But you can see there's that notch. Then here, as the wind wraps in, we're still seeing the signs of the rotation. And what you'll see in a little bit is, as we get the new scan of the rain data in here, it's going to match up, head farther to the northeast. So again, while right now we do not have any official spotter reports of a tornado being on the ground, the radar indications are definitely there. Take cover in Fort Wayne, the northeast side of town. This is the area that is most at risk for a tornado. Even if that tornado doesn't show up, what are you going to get? You're going to get those gusty, damaging winds, perhaps in the vicinity of 50, 60 miles per hour. You're getting those torrential downpours, perhaps leading to some flooding, some hail possible too, although that hail certainly not as big a threat as the tornado, the heavy rains, and the gusty winds. Right now, radar indicating those wind gusts up to about 50 miles per hour. This storm packing a punch, much like the storm that remains to the south of us. Remember, 2 tornado warnings ongoing right now. This one currently affecting the northeast side of Allen County and Fort Wayne until 5:45. Then we have this tornado warning that extends till 5:30. We've been seeing plenty of returns of rotation on that one. Rob, let's go and analyze this because I don't want to leave out our viewers.
Real quick too, Nicholas.
Yeah,
go ahead. We have a report from a train spotter. They're seeing a rotating wall cloud at I-469 and State Road 37. So that would be with this particular cell in northeastern Allen County. That is the one that we've been talking about with the hook. That's the one that we're concerned about, and that's the newest tornado warning for our area. Seeing reports now from train spotters of a rotating wall cloud. Again, that is at I-469 and State Road 37. Tornado warning. You need to seek shelter if you're in the path of this storm. So travel there on the northern fringe of 469 dangerous right now. Also on 24 headed east into northwest Ohio from Fort Wayne. That is dangerous now as well with that heavy rain and the rotation of the current storm. With Rob just reporting, train spotter reporting a rotating wall cloud there at I-469 and 37. This is the storm that's to the south that also has a tornado warning on it, getting ready to affect Pinedo. Rob, let's see that velocity tool. We're still seeing some signs of rotation. There are some signs. It looks like it's becoming less organized,
Agreed.
Which is good news with this particular cell. I think that's why they have not extended the tornado warning at this point. That is some good news, excuse me, with this cell. However, it's still very concerning with the one in Allen County.
Agreed, and we certainly are seeing a much more impressive rotation signature with that storm that is around the Fort Wayne area right now. Let's go back to that storm. Again, Pinedo, take cover, get in your safe spot. Here we are back in the Fort Wayne area, the northeastern side of Allen County. We are to the east of Parkview Hospital. We are to the east of 69. Leo Cedarville east to the state line, down to Woodburn. This would be our primary area of concern. You can see, as Rob noted here and drew in, this hook echo, the air rushing into the storm, taking on that spin, giving us the signs of rotation as the storm moves to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour, bringing with it also not just this risk for tornadoes, but also heavy rain and some very damaging winds. At the moment, we have that confirmed report of the rotating wall cloud, the rotation with this storm. It is out there. That is confirmed. We await additional information from train spotters and from our county emergency management officials, but don't wait for that. Get in your safe spot right now. We know this is a particularly dangerous storm now in northeastern Allen County. Again, here is 24 to the north of Woodburn. There's Leo Cedarville, and we're seeing that heavy rain, the strongest part of this storm right now, heading eventually out of Fort Wayne and Allen County. Perhaps Hicksville, you'll be at risk for this storm should it hold together at its same strength. You can see some of these latest timings here. 5:34 in Graybill, 5:39 in Woodburn, and 5:51 in Antwerp, Ohio. The rest of Fort Wayne in the clear. The southern side of the county, the western side of the county, not much going on. Still to the south, a very strong storm. Yes, you can see how this red polygon now includes the Bern and Monroe areas, down into the, basically from Monroe down into the southern fringe of Adams County there, right on the county line with Jay County. So Pinedo, this storm, with its tornado potential, remains for you here this evening. It is moving to the east. Are we still seeing that same 25 to 30 mile per hour speed, Rob?
Yes, we are at 25 mile per hour wind speed. And actually, we're going to, so yes, tornado warning continues for Adams and Wells counties. We've got confirmed tornado located near Montpelier, pushing or 9 miles south of Bluffton, rather. But now we have two reports of two funnel clouds at State Road 37 at St. Joe Center Road in Allen County.
So again, that takes us back into the Allen County and Fort Wayne side of the activity that's ongoing out there. Let's go back to this storm. Again, that latest report, two funnel clouds, St. Joe Center Road at State Road 37, that same area where we had gotten confirmed reports of rotation earlier on.
Also getting reports from the other cell that we were just at in Wells County, reports of grain wagons lofted into a field about 500 feet in the air, if that report is to be believed, but that is from a train spotter from the cell off to the south, moving through portions of Wells County. So as we go back to our standard view, you can see the storms that we're watching that we've been pointing out to you. One that has actually been very consistent, moving due east, started all the way back in Grant County, now moving through portions of Wells County, southern Adams County. And that cell, we've got reports from train spotters, that the tornado has lifted grain wagons into a field about 500 feet in the air. And then we also have a tornado warning across portions of Allen County, northeastern Allen County to be specific, and reports of funnel clouds, two of them in particular.
And let's go back to that Fort Wayne storm, now in northeastern Allen County. And Rob, let's put on the velocity tool and track that rotation, because we were seeing a very distinct indication of rotation.
Oh, yes.
And there it is. There it is. Now, while we had that damage report of the was that a grain bin lifted in the air?
Yeah, that was in Wells.
That was from that storm to the south, but we could easily see similar damage here. In fact, we're seeing the strong winds. We're seeing a more clear sign of rotation with this storm. I'm more worried about this storm right now than what we're seeing down to the south, which has showed some signs of improvement, even though our Wells County storm still is very concerning, still has a tornado warning. This one that we're seeing now, the northeastern side of Allen County, is even more concerning. Woodburn, 533, you're under the gun. Antwerp, Ohio, 544, 551 in Hicksville, Ohio. We see this tornado warning remaining in effect for another 15 minutes until 5:45. At that point, it's likely to be leaving Allen County and heading into northwest Ohio. At this point, no tornado warning in effect for northwest Ohio, but what we've seen with the storms that have been out there this afternoon, they hold their strength really well as they head to the east. So I certainly would not be surprised to see this warning continued as it heads into northwest Ohio, again, potentially affecting Hicksville and Antwerp. So if you're in those locations, I want you to get to your safe spot and away from windows, because a very strong storm on the way for you. We go back to this storm to the south, and watch more storms off to the west, more tornado warnings too. That's why even once we get past this current round this evening, we may see additional severe storm and tornado potential later on this evening. A tornado watch in effect from Fort Wayne south until 9 o'clock tonight. Let's go back and zoom into this second tornado warning that we have in effect. Again, this one now extended to include the city of Bern. So we're looking at 27 in between Decatur and Bern. This includes Monroe, just to the north of Bryant. The storm starting to leave Pinedo as we speak. This storm headed to the east. Veracruz also in the line. We're seeing some signs of rotation here. The green's going this way, the red's going the opposite, giving us the potential rotation there. But do you remember what this looked like as we were around Fort Wayne? It was a much brighter signal, and that's why we're a little bit more concerned with heavier damage, a more significant storm happening on the northeastern side of Fort Wayne. Still though, Pinedo, Veracruz, I don't want you to think this is done, your risk is over. Not true. Stay in your safe spot. Let this storm pass. Rob, can we go back to our Fort Wayne storm? Let's keep an eye on that, because again, this storm now heading farther to the northeast. We've cleared 469 right now, but that distinct sign of rotation, the bright green against the bright red, still showing up here on radar. That would bring the rotation here just to the north of 24, just to the northwest of Woodburn. Again, this is heading to the northeast. Rob, if we continue to zoom in here, can we get any additional locations, any additional roadways on here? You can see Grable popped up there on the north side. We're seeing Darling Road, Irving Road, right in between where the strongest part of the storm is right now. Doty Road, and is it Ale Road? Ellie Road?
Nicholas, we're getting some new reports coming in here.
Yes, Rob, go ahead.
I'm seeing some reports of a tornado on the ground near Doty Road and Ricker. So we've got Doty Road on the map right there. Reports of a tornado on the ground near north or at the intersection of Doty Road and Ricker. So this is with the cell that is in Allen County, the one that's on your screen right now, where we're seeing the rotation, seeing some reports. We've been talking about the lowering of a wall cloud, some funnel clouds that have been reported. We're now seeing some train spotters reporting that there is a tornado, in fact, and also a report of a tornado on the ground in Wells County too. So both of these storms that are in our viewing area, we're seeing reports from train spotters that there are tornadoes on the ground. These are serious storms. If you're in the path of these storms, you need to seek shelter. Go to the lowest level of your home or an interior-most spot. You need to get away from windows because both of these storms require you to seek shelter immediately.
And Rob, what we're getting now, additional descriptions on the tornado that is located near Woodburn, being described by the National Weather Service as large and extremely dangerous. I don't want to scare anyone. However, I want you to take those words and really pay attention to them, listen to them, and take cover, because these same words were used to describe the storm that was over Kokomo. And that storm, we saw damage where a Starbucks was leveled. If our crew could at some point get that picture back up again.
Yeah,
I want to, you see what we're saying here when we talk about large and extremely dangerous. Our description for the storm that is moving through northeast Fort Wayne into northwestern Ohio, the same description used for this storm. Again, I don't have any confirmed damage reports just like that, what you're seeing there at the Starbucks Kokomo, but we're seeing a very similar description. We're seeing significant rotation showing up here. You see this radar estimated wind gust of 105 miles per hour. It's very strong stuff that we're dealing with.
Very concerning, in fact.
Very concerning. And again, what we're worried about here is the bright greens and the bright reds. When we see them show up on radar like this, very close together in a tightly packed shape there, that gives us a higher confidence that we do have a tornado on the ground, that we are seeing significant damage. It's going to take some time for the storm to move out for us to get confirmations of that damage. That's what I'm saying. Don't go to windows. Don't worry about looking out at the storms, at what's happening. If you are here, the northeastern side of Allen County, there north of 24, up to the Allen County line, just let the storm pass. If you are in northwest Ohio, here's Antwerp. Storm getting closer to you. Storm also could affect Hicksville. You want to take cover too. Don't wait. Get to your safe spot. right now.
Nicholas,
Again,
we have some new information
yeah,
coming in
go
here.
ahead, Rob.
Train spotter now reporting, they're describing the tornado in Allen County as a wedge. And that is on the ground, Doty Road near Milan Center Road. And then we also have reports of a tornado on the ground in Wells County too, with the warning that we have off to our south. So both of these storms in our viewing area still producing tornadoes that have been confirmed by spotters. Remember, we are live on Facebook as well. If you're in any of the red boxes, you need, or in the path of these storms even, you need to seek shelter immediately, because we are receiving confirmed reports that these storms are producing tornadoes. The one in Allen County is right now being described as a wedge shape, and that is consistent with what we're seeing here on radar. Some very strong wind speeds showing up, very bright, indicating where we've got wind speeds potentially of over 100 miles per hour, and that could be associated with a tornado.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are seeing clear indications, our clearest indications of the afternoon and evening so far. Would you not say, Rob, as we've been watching these storms?
From everything we've been watching all afternoon, this is the strongest indication by far.
Yeah, remember, there are two things we're watching right now, two storms, one here exiting Fort Wayne and Allen County, then another down here to the south. We just got some reports of a potential confirmed tornado north of Montpelier. We're sending a crew in that direction. We also have a crew headed out with this storm that's leaving Fort Wayne as we speak. So there's going to be a lot of weather information coming out of both of these storms, especially with this storm that's exiting Allen County right now. This is the storm we have this tornado warning remaining on that includes Bern and Monroe, but what we're seeing here is the rotation being a little bit more broad, a little bit more weak. So yes, this still has the potential at causing damage, but if we're going to be seeing significant damage to a very large extent, that's especially going to come with a storm that's exiting Allen County right now. That's the most concerning thing. Ideally, this storm is weakening and will eventually run out of this tornado warning, but for right now, it does remain in effect, coming to these places at these times: 542 in Pine Lake, 543 in Veracruz, and 549 in Bern. Tornado warning remaining in effect for this storm as it approaches Pine Lake and Bern. Let's go back to our Fort Wayne storm. Again, this now heading into the northeastern side of Allen County, moving into northwest Ohio right now with some of the torrential downpours. The rotation, though, still in northeastern Allen County, to the north of Highway 24, really just to the north. I would not want to be traveling along 24 right now, either into northwest Ohio or out of it, because this is a very dangerous spot to be right now. We're looking at Schaefer Road there. And before, I think, Rob, you were given those locations, Doty and Milan Center Road, where we were seeing the reports of the location of this rotation and the tornado. Again, a wedge tornado. That is a very significant thing to think about here. We're not talking about a weak tornado. We're talking about a large and extremely dangerous tornado being spotted, being confirmed here on radar, bringing those gusty, damaging winds, also bringing with it this torrential rainfall, making it very hard to see if you are out on the road. That's why we're saying just let this storm pass. Let it get out of the picture over the course of this next half hour. At the moment, the tornado warning does not extend into northwest Ohio. This warning in effect until 5:45. That's less than 10 minutes from now. Obviously, though, we're still dealing with a very strong, a very potent storm. I wouldn't be surprised if, as the minutes tick by here, we're going to see this included. Say it is extended, we would see it in Antwerp about 5:51. We head off to Cecil, should it maintain its strength, 6:06. Then Defiance, that would take us to 6:38. So we're looking at about an hour timeline now from where we could see this storm come into northwest Ohio and perhaps produce additional damage. The latest scan here coming in showing the storm heading farther off out of Allen County, getting closer to northwest Ohio, but the rotation lingering here on the backside of the storm. And then, of course, that is the place where we're watching for the greatest potential for storm damage.
We're now getting some new reports coming in, Nicholas. Still reports of a large wedge tornado northwest of the intersection of Ale Road and Brush College Road. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ale Road in Allen County. That's what that cell. And we've been talking about it. We're on Facebook Live right now as well with the latest. If you need to go to your safe spot, you can punch us up on your phone. But this tornado is certainly moving off to the north and east. And this tornado warning in particular will likely be extended to to include Antwerp, just off to the south of Hicksville. We have crews moving all about the area with this storm. In fact, there we go. We just have the tornado warning extended, Nicholas.
Yeah, well, no surprise there. As we were just saying, Rob, these storms, once they've gotten going this evening, they've kept going. They've maintained their strength. They've been very consistent as far as being long-term storms. That storm that we're watching to the south that is now, heading farther east toward Jay County.
Now reports of uprooted trees on Ale Road.
And that, again, is our Allen County storm here. This one that we're tracking right now, well, no surprise there. We have this confirmed tornado. We're going to be getting plenty of damage reports in this area. So again, if you are in this northeastern section of Allen County, north of Highway 24, be in that safe spot and let this storm pass. If you are in Antwerp, Cecil, or Sherwood, get to your safe spot as well. This tornado warning has now been extended for you. The time of arrival for the strongest part of this storm, 5:45 in Antwerp, 6 o'clock in Cecil, and 6:08 in Sherwood. Again, we want to emphasize that if you are in this tornado warning, you are in a life-threatening situation. Flying debris may be deadly if you are not within shelter and within your safe spot. Mobile homes, a very dangerous spot to be. We want everyone to be in their safe spot. If you are in a mobile home but far away from where these warnings are, if you're already where the warnings are, just stay safe. But if you are in some of these more eastern locations where the warnings are not in and you can get to a safe spot, a friend's place, a sturdier structure, do that. But again, if these storms are bearing down on you right now, do not head out. Just stay away from windows, stay in that lowest part of your home.
Now some reports of houses torn apart from the storm in Allen County.
And that is our Allen County storm. And then again, we're talking about a very powerful tornado here, a wedge tornado reported on the ground with what we're seeing in Fort Wayne. We still have this tornado warning ongoing to the south, potential rotation, potential tornado here affecting Pine Lake and Bern. But let's go back to that Fort Wayne storm, that Allen County storm. It's working its way on exiting the city and working its way on exiting the county, but we're going to have to watch Hicksville and Antwerp for potential heavy damage and a potential tornado affecting this range in between Hicksville and Antwerp over the course of this next hour. Again, that rotation still noted here on radar. This warning that is in effect.
Nicholas, I apologize. That's
no, go
pronounced
ahead.
Ely Road, and that's where we're getting some of those reports of the damage of uprooted trees. Now getting some reports near, it looks like Dorman and Remke Road of several buildings down from this particular storm. And again, that rotation still visible, not as strong as we had been seeing earlier, but this is still producing a tornado, and it's been reported as a large wedge tornado. That's very concerning. Already some damage reports coming in. If you're in the path of this storm, you need to seek shelter. You need to get to your safe spot. This is a potentially life-threatening situation. And
it should be noted again that we have multiple tornadoes on the ground right now confirmed. We have the one from the Allen County storm that's heading into northwest Ohio. We also have one that's confirmed around Wells County. That coming with the storm that is positioned to the south of Fort Wayne that we've been tracking as well. So again, two areas to watch. They are exactly the areas here that are highlighted in red where we have our two tornado warnings in effect. We were just talking about this Allen County storm now heading into northwest Ohio. Let's go back to the storm that is now south of Bluffton, where we also have that confirmation of a tornado being on the ground. Heavy downpours, torrential rain from Veracruz down to Bern. The signs of rotation are out there. It's a little bit more broad. This likely to be a little bit of a weaker tornado. Still something, though, that is strong. Still something, though, that could be producing damage and one that you don't want to head outside to see. Again, this is a storm, like all the storms we're seeing this evening. Let them pass. Get to your safe spot. We have this potentially life-threatening situation right here. Not just with this storm that's headed to Pine Lake and Bern, Pine Lake at 5:45 and Bern at 5:54, but also with what's going on as another storm leaves Allen County and heads into northwest Ohio. Again, this is the one where we have that confirmed wedge tornado on the ground. What does that mean? Think of a wedge shape. It's kind of almost that iconic image of a tornado that you see in your mind. That wedge of rotation heading to the ground, causing damage. We're starting to see those damage reports come in. We're still seeing some rotation here on radar Right now, this is not as strong as what we were seeing before, but it's still significant. So if you are on this northeastern side of Allen County, north of Highway 24, continue to stay in your safe spot. If you are in Hicksville down to Antwerp, Ohio, stay in your safe spot or get there now if you're not there yet. Sherwood, Ohio and Cecil, Ohio, you need to be getting to safety as well. The strongest part of the storm is not in your area yet, but it will be. That is why you are under a tornado warning right now. The tornado potential will hold up for these places as we head over the course of the next half hour. Rob, let's get that timing back up again so I can...
Sure thing. I was just looking at the latest scan of radar coming in. It looks like for the most part, the bulk of the storm has now left Allen County, but certainly moving through our Ohio counties just north of Paulding.
Yeah, and we are still seeing, again, this storm being very strong, still being very dangerous and very damaging. Cecil, 559, 607 in Sherwood. Again, a tornado warning in effect for this storm moving into these places at these times. Defiance, Ohio, you are not under the warning just quite yet. Should the storm hold together, it would be headed in your direction. It continues this northeasterly track, showing signs of rotation here on radar. Again, just to the north of Highway 24 there. Rob, can we get the latest wind gust estimates? We've seen wind gusts 50 to 70 miles per hour, even higher estimated at times. No doubt responsible for causing the damage along with the tornado itself, creating those gusty winds too. It's what we're going to get our damage reports from as the storm moves off to the northeast. And I expect us to hear of a lot of damage and see a lot of damage reports as this evening goes on and this current storm clears out. So yes, between 50 and 60 miles per hour are the current gusts. That's a little bit lighter than what we saw earlier on, but still strong. This storm, although showing us some potential signs of weakening a bit, is still packing quite a punch and is still a very serious storm. It's why the tornado warning remains for Hicksville, for Cecil, and for the areas just to the north of Paulding. The city of Paulding, you're not under the gun with this storm. The rain lighter in intensity where you are, the strongest stuff right now traveling along 24 to the north up to around the Hicksville area. Should this continue to the northeast and maintain that severe storm strength, maintain that tornado potential, it would be in Defiance around 6:33. So another 45 minutes with this storm. Rob, let's get the big picture here because we've been focused on these two storms, and I want to let everybody know there are additional storms coming. Right now, you see a line from Warsaw down farther to the south and more red boxes showing up. And that indicates more tornado warnings. Rob, could we just zoom in on this area? I want to give us some perspective as far as where Kokomo is, because we had this storm in Kokomo earlier where it destroyed the Starbucks there, where we popped up that picture earlier on. You can see this storm on track to kind of breeze by Kokomo again. Kokomo has not been a good place to be today. Areas to the south where we've seen tornado potential also have not been good places to be. And look at this. It looks like we're going to maintain this severe storm potential and tornado potential as the evening goes on. So while we're on the air now for these two tornado warnings, we may still have additional warnings and additional storm potential as this evening continues here. Rob, let's go back.
Tornado warning has now been canceled for Wells County, Nicholas. So
that would be this storm.
Correct. So this is the storm off to the south. The tornado warning continues for southern Adams County. And we can still see some signs of rotation right here. That would be off to the south and west of Bern. That is still moving off to the east at 25 miles per hour. And right now, still reports of an observed tornado.
All right, and Rob, let's go back to northeastern Allen County as that storm moves into northwest Ohio. You can see it has cleared Woodburn on the radar. And now that the storm has moved out, we're getting pictures in from near the Woodburn area. You can see them here. Very ominous looking clouds, kind of blocked. This is the area where we were talking about that Wedge tornado being spotted. Now here we're at a distance we can't completely see, but you can see there's something happening here. Very clear rotation there, a cloud that's dropping from the sky, likely touching the ground. We've had that confirmed report of a Wedge tornado. Those are our pictures from near the Woodburn area, northeastern Allen County, in that area where we received reports of a confirmed Wedge tornado on the ground. Very significant, likely very damaging. Already had some reports of damage come in, but now that the storm exits, I'm expecting those reports to come in at a much faster rate once we're able to go out and assess just what has happened. If the storms have moved out in your area and you are able to get us pictures safely, remember there are two ways to do that. Through our WANE weather app and also through our Report It tool on WANE.com. Download the WANE weather app, you can track the radar, track the storms, and when you send in pictures there, they come right into us in the Weather Center. Again though, if the storms are bearing down on you right now, let them pass. Don't worry about getting pictures to us. Your safety is most important to me, to Rob, to our whole weather team here. That's why we're on the air giving you this coverage.
Oh, Nicholas, we're now seeing something showing up here with the storms that are just beginning to enter the Warsaw area, and seeing some signs of rotation again. Right now, no warning with this particular cell, but that is concerning.
Yes, it's going to make for a continued busy evening for us. What we're seeing there, the greens and the reds, remember that indicates the rotation as far as in respect to the radar, which sits up here in North Webster. Those opposing views, the greens and the reds, show more rotation out there. Again, not as significant right now as compared to what we've seen with these two other storms. Remember, this warning now with the storm passing south of Decatur, no longer in effect, but this one moving into northwest Ohio remains in effect and is really our most concerning storm that is out there, and is where we've seen the reports, confirmed reports of a tornado and damage as the storm left northeast Fort Wayne and now has entered Ohio. Rob, can you zoom into this?
Yeah, I'm getting some reports from
one
of our producers, actually, who's listening to Scanner right now, and he's saying 101 and Notestein still on the ground according to the scanner with the tornado there.
Yikes, and I want to go back. I'm just seeing a report coming in here. We were kind of downplaying that storm a little bit to the south around Bern, but we are getting a report of a confirmed tornado located near Bern moving east at 25 miles per hour. That tornado being observed. So let's go down.
Yes, we are seeing some stronger signs of rotation now with that particular storm. We're just getting some new scans here. Still some definite signs of rotation with that storm. And again, as you mentioned, confirmed tornado that is moving through southern portions of Adams County.
Okay, so two areas to watch. We continue with those two areas to watch. That storm that is in the southern section of our viewing area affecting Bern up to Monroe, and then that storm that is now in northwest Ohio, eventually on the approach to Defiance. These storms both maintain the potential at producing tornadoes. We have not seen that threat come to an end. We're still seeing the threat for torrential heavy rain and gusty damaging winds. A very dangerous situation remains across our area, and these tornado warnings remain in effect. So again, Hicksville down to Antwerp, off to the northeast. This is where we're seeing this storm remain. Now the threat in northeastern Allen County has ended. Grable, Woodburn, things a lot more quiet by you. The storm is done. Remember though, additional storms could still come later on tonight. But northwest Ohio, Hicksville down to Paulding, if you are in that area, take cover, get to your safe spot. This tornado potential does continue as we head into the 6 o'clock hour. Let's go back down to the south to that storm that we had that confirmation of tornado near Bern. Let's analyze that with a velocity tool as we were doing before. Still seeing some signs of rotation here, not as significant as some of the rotation that we've seen earlier on, but remember, we have actual confirmed reports of a tornado being located near Bern. So a very serious situation here from Bern up to Monroe, this storm moving to the northeast. Rob, can we put a track on this just so we can maybe add Wilshire into the mix here to see at what time it would approach Wilshire should it all hold together at the same strength?
All right, so moving east at about 25 miles per hour with this particular storm, that would put it in Wilshire at around 6:16.
6:16. So again, within the course of the next half hour, we'll get this storm out of Indiana into northwestern Ohio, still though affecting portions of our News Channel 15 viewing area. We have that other storm already entering northwest Ohio, where we've had the confirmed Wedge tornado in Fort Wayne. We now still see it carry this potential for a tornado into Ohio.
Rotation here.
And you see, yeah, you see the gusty winds. You see that rotation again. The greens heading this way to the west. The reds heading this way to the east, producing this rotation. Wind gusts estimated by our radar around 60 miles per hour, of course. We get in that rotation, we could see something even stronger than that. If we look just at the returns on radar here, you kind of see maybe some signs of a hook, a little appendage here forming. That also a sign that this storm has some spin to it. And it could very well be not just showing us rotation in the sky, but still producing a tornado at ground level. Again, now this storm, this tornado warning, active for Northwest Ohio. The risk has ended in the Fort Wayne area for now and across all of Allen County. This storm heading to the northeast. Cecil storm picking up by you now. We could have it in Defiance by 6:31. Rob, let's do another big picture on this setup that we have ongoing out there. Here are our two main spots we continue to watch. Here's the potential next round. At this moment, no warnings to pass along from Warsaw down to south of Wabash. There are warnings that show up just to the north of Kokomo right now, an area that has already been hit by tornadoes earlier on today. So our severe threat not ending once we get through these storms. Don't think because this current storm has left Fort Wayne, is not in Columbia City, is not in Kendallville, that things are quiet for you the rest of the evening. No, we have to continue to keep an eye on these storms that remain to our west. Warsaw getting pounded with some heavy rain right now. Let's see if we're seeing any rotation there.
The good news is the signs of rotation that we were watching with that storm has weakened.
We
are now seeing some reports, though, that there are some folks are seeing visual of the Defiance Paulding tornado. Some folks have been able to potentially spot that.
Yeah, and what they're seeing is it appears to be dropping or lifting motion of that cloud, either dropping in the form of a tornado or a funnel cloud and lifting back up in the sky. A lot of fluctuation is likely with a storm of this nature. Throughout the course of the evening here, as we've been watching the storms, especially that storm that was to the south of Fort Wayne, we would see it show us better indications of a tornado than other times when it would weaken and it would seem like things would be improving, but then as the storms moved east, they would kind of redevelop and show that potential again. That's why we're not ruling any of these storms out for spinning up a tornado as they continue to move to the east. And there we are, more reports of damage at Notestein and State Road 101, several buildings damaged, small limbs down, one tree being described as decapitated by a trained spotter. So again, this is the type of damage that I don't think any of us are surprised at seeing with this storm. We have a storm that is capable of producing a tornado, a storm that has had confirmed reports of a tornado, and a confirmed wedge tornado. That is significant. That means we're going to see a lot of damage reports likely from this storm.
Now getting some reports from amateur radio spotter reporting tornado on the ground at Defiance County Road 220 and 53. So let's go up to that storm in particular here.
That's back to this storm now in Northwest Ohio. The strongest rain falling now from Hicksville over to Sherwood to Cecil. Looking for some signs of rotation, seeing some somewhat here on our radar scope. Perhaps not as bright and obvious as they were before when the storm was in Allen County. But again, still signs of rotation showing up here on radar.
And certainly signs of rotation within the overall
just by that shape.
Image of the storm.
As we were talking about before, a lot of times the shape on radar can tell us a lot about what's happening. And when we get kind of a little notch here, it means the air is rushing in, kind of giving some spin to the storm, creating that rotation. The radar here kind of hooks. We call this a hook echo. That's what we're seeing here. So even though we're not seeing necessarily those bright signs of rotation, that could be one key element to look at. We have another element, and that's just the shape of the storm on radar itself. So just because we're not seeing that rotation being so strong in the velocity scope doesn't mean it's not happening, especially when we have this concerning shape showing up here on radar. And again, anywhere from Hicksville to Sherwood to Cecil take cover. Cecil 604, Sherwood 606, Ney at 617. That's when you're going to see the strongest part of this storm. And remember, this storm continues to have that potential at producing a tornado for you. We're talking about County Road 8 there, in between the Defiance, pretty much on the Defiance-Paulding County line. This is 127, then West Jericho Road right there. Again, this tornado warning remains in effect as we approach 6 o'clock and go beyond potentially Defiance. You could be at risk for this, even though the rain that you're seeing right now is really not all that heavy, not all that strong. Another important threat to talk about, as Rob just put up there, we have those rainfall rates between 1 and 1.5 inches an hour.
They've just extended that tornado warning now, includes the city of Defiance.
Yeah, so again, no surprise here. We've been talking about these storms maintaining their strength and also maintaining that tornado-producing potential. So it's obvious and clear why they continue to extend this warning. So now including Defiance, Ohio, and our expiration time on this warning, Rob, what did they adjust
expiring
it to?
at 6:30, still saying a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located 4 miles southwest of Cecil, and that is moving northeast at 30 miles per hour.
So again, the Weather Service does not use those words lightly. They're not words that are thrown around in every severe weather situation. This is a very significant weather event. This is an event where you need to be in your safe spot if you are here in Northwest Ohio, from Cecil to Hicksville. Hicksville, I don't want you to come out of your shelter just quite yet. I want this storm to get farther away from you. Sherwood, Nay, Defiance. This storm on the way, get to your safe spot. The tornado producing potential remains. The other worry, along with potential tornado damage, very heavy rainfall. We're seeing those rainfall rates between 1 to 1.5 inches per hour. That's a rapid rush of rain that can't drain away quickly. Low-lying areas are likely to flood in this situation. We still have another tornado warning ongoing to the south. We had a report of a tornado spotted near Bern. Still around Monroe, the storm falling and still showing signs of rotation here. Another concerning storm for us. So again, we have multiple storms to talk about across the area. While I know many of you are dry right now and things are calm, we have viewers out there who are really getting the brunt of the weather action, and we still have more storms to come here tonight. Let's widen out the view and let's take a look at that next line that is coming our way as the evening goes on. Thunderstorms and heavy rain in Warsaw right now. We do have another tornado warning approaching Grant County eventually. Still, though, the storm
moving once again into Kokomo. So this is concerning. This storm seems to be taking the same track that the southerly storm that we've been watching that's currently moving through Adams County could be impacting Marion and Gas City, those same areas that already saw that storm. You have another round of storms on the way capable of producing tornadoes. They do have tornado warnings with them.
And remember, it was with that storm over Kokomo that we had that same wording, considerable, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado. And it was with that storm that we saw the Starbucks in Kokomo be completely destroyed. Those were our first pictures of the afternoon and evening that came in from storm damage. And what we saw, if it's possible to get that picture of that Starbucks up again, I want to just show that to emphasize what we're talking about when we use the words confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado, that we're not just throwing those words around. That Starbucks in Kokomo was completely leveled. This is a very serious situation, and a weather setup that continues to play out with these same two storms. This is the same storm that produced that damage in Kokomo. It's weakened a little bit since then, but it's still a powerful storm in between Decatur and Bern on 27 there. Then don't forget, we have this tornado warning that is now into Northwest Ohio that affected the northeastern side of Fort Wayne with a confirmed Wedge tornado when it passed through the northeastern side of the Summit City, now still showing that potential at tornado damage as it makes its way into Sherwood.
And once again, we're still seeing this hook here with this particular cell, and we've actually got some reports coming in of tornado damage in Antwerp. And this cell continues to push off to the north and east. In fact, we're momentarily here. We've got crews about through the entire area, and News Channel 15's Holly Campbell is firing up her TVU to go remote and actually show some of the damage from some of these storms. But we still have tornadoes on the ground.
Yeah, and I would say at this point, as we've been talking about, this shape, this hook echo that we're seeing, and again now some bright returns of rotation there happening just to the southwest of Sherwood. I think right now, going on the shape of that is our best bet, because we are moving farther and farther away from the radar. It may become harder and harder for us to see the returns of bright rotation. So definitely this tornado potential continues, especially as we see this hook shape show up on radar as the storm exits the Hicksville area, heads farther to the northeast, putting Defiance in the line of fire eventually. Again, northeast at about 25 to 30 miles per hour, brings it into Sherwood, Ohio at 6:08 and Defiance at 6:34. So still talking about another half hour of a existing dangerous situation there in northwest Ohio approaching the Defiance area. Now, new information here on the storm south of Decatur, exiting Monroe. The warning has been extended into Van Wert County. Does not include the city of Van Wert just quite yet. But again, if this storm continues to hold its potential together and hold its strength, Van Wert, you could be in line for a tornado risk as we head to the next half hour to 45 minutes. Right now, Monroe to Wilshire, under the gun, eventually Wren. Still seeing some signs of rotation here on the map. What that equates to is a tornado-producing potential. And we have had confirmed reports of a tornado with this storm, and also with the storm that is now in northwest Ohio, farther to the north, the storm that moved out of Fort Wayne and Allen County. Here are timings for this storm. Wilshire, 6:09, Wren, 6:15, Ohio City at 6:29. Again, as Rob was saying, we have our crews out in the field at each of these different storms to let us know what's going on. As soon as they get to a place where they can be safe, where they can survey the damage, they're going to be checking in with those reports so we can get some ground truth, because it's easy for us to see what's happening here on radar, but radar can't tell us just what exactly is happening damage-wise in the field. Here we are, Highway 127, that goes through Sherwood. Already seeing the torrential rainfall there. Again, some flooding possible with the storm. Lots of rain making it hard to see, along with this potential for a tornado. And where we'd be looking for that is anywhere between Buckskin Road to the north, Jericho Road to the south, Ohio 18, kind of in between Hicksville and Sherwood, and then Highway 127. So again, this is the prime area right now where if there's a tornado still on the ground, it would be right there. May even be a little bit here farther to the southwest of Sherwood, where we're seeing some signs of rotation here on radar. This severe weather setup playing out because a cold front parked well to our west. And since it is so far to the west, this severe weather threat is going to linger through tonight. We have a tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. More storms are out there. And look at how powerful these storms are. Along with that tornado potential, wind gusts up to 76 miles per hour. Those winds, whether tornado or not, are still going to produce a lot of damage outside. As we widen out, you can see what's happening. The storms that we've been watching to the west are moving closer and closer to us. Still no severe weather from Warsaw down to North Manchester or Wabash or even Peru. But down to the south, here's what we have to watch closely. That storm, the next storm that's been affecting Kokomo, the second of the day, heads closer and closer to Grant County, where we had a tornado threat earlier on, and potential tornadoes move on through.
Oh, there's more rotation here.
Yep, look at that.
This is just off to the west of Peru. You can actually, I even just spotted, there we go, we just have a tornado warning issued. You can see the hook showing up on radar right here.
And again, this storm now off Peru, moving toward Wabash eventually. I'm hearing, is it Rod we have in the field? Rod Hissong is out in the field. Rod, let us know where you are. Tell us what you're seeing, because I hear you're seeing a tornado.
I am in Paulding County at 8 and 105, where a tornado has actually just lifted. It was on the ground a few miles north of 24, moving towards the east-northeast. I don't know how long it was on the ground for, because I didn't pick it up until I got a little closer. But it was a good-sized wedge tornado moving east-northeast. I'm at 8 and 105 where it's picked up. It's dissipated. I'm still seeing some rotation in the clouds in the sky. The winds are fairly strong and gusty, but it's not as the rotation, the velocity that I was seeing earlier is not as heavy as it is now, but there is certainly still a threat with this system. It's very obvious. The wall cloud out in front is very defined. So I'm going to keep traveling towards the east and northeast to see if it picks its rotation back up and perhaps touches down again.
All right, thank you, Rod. Again, Rod, on this storm now, as it heads through northwest Ohio, we've had that new tornado warning issued. I want to go back to that before we got that report in from Rod. Again, that's with this storm that is moving through Peru right now. I want to talk about this because it's on its way into Wabash County, so that could affect anywhere from Rowan down to Wabash over the course of the next 20 minutes to half hour. That warning is in effect until 6:30 for that storm located over Mexico near Peru. I know we do have some News Channel 15 viewers in that area, so you need to take cover right now.
Could be potentially right along U.S. Highway 24 as well.
Great. Thanks for that location, Rob. It's great to have that perspective of where these storms are, especially when they carry this potential at tornadoes. And as you can see there, we've been talking about radar shapes all afternoon long. There's another hook developing right there. Again, this storm moving to the east, 25 miles per hour, brings it into Peru about 6:15. Again, that's the strongest part of the storm that has the potential to bring the tornado. Then into Wabash by the time we get to 6:37. Eventually it'll grow. You could be at risk for this too. So now we are watching 3 different storms right now, all with the potential, really 4, if you think about it, because we have this storm here now getting into Wabash County eventually. We have this storm that is not yet into Grant County and near the Marion area, but it's getting closer and closer. Then we have this storm where Rod is still seeing a tornado on the ground, and a significant wedge tornado at that. And then this storm that's down to the south, eventually getting into Van Wert County. We have not talked about this one in a little bit. They're around Decatur, heading east toward Van Wert. If we can get a timing on this storm, as it does move closer to Van Wert, again, still carrying this tornado potential. You can see it right there, eventually on the way to Van Wert within just the next half hour or so. Wilshire 6:15, Wren 6:19, Ohio City at 6:34. Brett and Heather, I'm going to throw it back to you for some more information here.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. As you continue to track all of the storms around the area, we have sent crews all over the area trying to assess some of the damage that's being caused right now by these storms.
And we're hearing of damage that's coming in from the Woodburn area, and that's where Holly Campbell is right now. She joins us live with what she's seeing out there. Holly?
Hey guys, we are west of Woodburn, and look behind me. This is some of the damage of when the tornado came through. And I don't know if you can see back here through the woods, but we've just been told that a house and a barn and a commercial chicken farm was completely leveled. 20,000 chickens back there, you can see, just completely damaged. But we were just told by people here on the scene that no one was damaged. And then I want to take you over here. This is where the path of the tornado came. You can see this barn across the street completely damaged. And then there's just a lot of damage, a lot of people out here now trying to assess the damage. The sheriff's department just came through to see if anyone is injured. And we are still going to be here on the scene, talk to people. Right now, a large crowd is gathering back here in this area. And we just talked to the owner of this home who says it just came right through here. We actually were a little northwest of this area trying to find some of the damage, and someone told us they saw the debris flying through the air, and we kind of followed the directions they gave us. And again, we are just west of Woodburn. We're making our way there when we saw lights, came down here and saw all of this damage. But you can check back to WANE.com for any updates. For now, we're going to send it back to you guys.
Massive damage all along that Woodburn area here. We have crews, as you mentioned earlier, looking for damage in other areas, and more tornadoes just continue to pop up all across northeast Indiana. This is a very dangerous situation for all our viewers within our area at this point.
And don't take things lightly when Nicholas says you need to take shelter. You could see from that report from Holly, there is damage being done. There are buildings being destroyed. There are trees falling on top of cars. So please take shelter when Nicholas tells you that that storm is right overhead.
Nicholas and Rob have been on air here for several hours now, warning you about the tornadoes and where they've been touching down, and they've lots of times been ahead of the NWS, letting you know exactly where the next tornado warning is going to pop up. Clearly, this is something that you need to be paying very close attention to.
Okay, let's send things back to Nicholas now.
All right, so remember, we're watching multiple locations where we have multiple storms, all with the potential for producing tornadoes. Most of them have had actual confirmed tornadoes on the ground, and now we're getting those confirmed damage reports, which exactly nail home that point of just how dangerous these storms are. And I know it is hard to put that in perspective If you're in an area that hasn't seen this weather this afternoon and evening, and many of you haven't, it has just been confined to a few spots. But those spots that did see it, boy, have they been hit hard. And there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see more reports, more images, just like what Holly shared with us a moment ago. Here are the spots that we're watching very closely. Let's go from north to south here. So Rob, let's start here with this storm now approaching Defiance, Ohio.
Sure.
Still giving us that potential at rotation, seeing indications of it on radar, moving kind of into Sherwood right now and moving to the northeast. Defiance and Nay, you continue to be under the gun with this severe thunderstorm warning, indications of rotation and especially gusty winds noted here on radar. Wind gusts 50 to 70 miles per hour, perhaps even higher. It's what we've seen throughout the course of the afternoon and evening here with these storms. Yeah.
The fire department and rescue in Sherwood, they have a tornado on the ground.
Okay, so
That's in Sherwood.
again, if you couldn't hear Rob at home, that fire department in Sherwood confirming reports of a tornado. They're matching up to exactly what we've been seeing here on radar, this hook shape, giving us the indications that a tornado could very well be on the ground, and now confirmed that it is on the ground. This storm moving to the northeast, affecting Defiance eventually. 6:35 is when this storm arrives in the Defiance area. Continue to stay in your safe spot in Defiance County. What is that safe spot? Your basement is your best option. If you don't have a basement, the lowest level of your home, away from windows. Here's our next storm, also with a tornado warning on it. From Wilshire up to Wren, this is where we're seeing that rotation.
Really right sandwiched between Wilshire and Wren at this
Yeah.
point in time. Moving off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. Reports of a tornado on the ground with that storm as well.
And remember what we're seeing here when we put it into this mode. The greens are heading to the northwest toward the Weather Service radar. The reds are heading away. That creates that counterclockwise rotation, the spinning of the storm, and thus the potential of a tornado being on the ground. So Wren at 6:20, Ohio City at 6:37. This dangerous situation remains. Wren and Ohio City continue to be in your safe spot. And if you're in Van Wert, there's nothing wrong with getting in your safe spot right now, because this storm could continue to head in your direction over the course of this next hour.
And according to the latest information issued about this particular storm, is a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Monroe, or just off to the south and east of Decatur, moving northeast at now 30 miles per hour.
So again, we're clearing the Decatur area, but still very dangerous. Rob, can we put the roads on here just so we can give
there we go, yes.
another perspective, give some more information to our viewers there. Again, Wilshire and Wren, we have Ohio 81, East 450 North, and US 33 there, east from Decatur. That rotation still noted. And remember the wording that we're using with these storms here this evening. Wording that does not come from the Weather Service very often. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Monroe, near Decatur, moving to the northeast. This is the same wording we've had with the storm as it moved out of Fort Wayne and into northwest Ohio, that separate storm we were just watching. Now just getting in a report, again with that storm in Defiance County, rotation being spotted north of 424 and Krause Road, that coming from the emergency manager there in Defiance County. So still seeing the tornado risk up here with this northern storm. It's just going to keep on going as it clears Defiance County. No doubt about that at this point. Here's the rain and thunderstorm activity that is ongoing off to the west of us. Again, Warsaw down to Rowan, heavy rain, but no tornadoes to speak of. As you head from Rowan to the south, just north of Mississinawa Lake, approaching Wabash, this is 24 west over into Peru. The storm, the tornado, near Peru right now. If it continues to hold its potential, it's going to move into Wabash County within the course of the next half hour. 6:40 is when this storm will be in Wabash. So Wabash, take cover. Get away from this storm. Farther down to the south, we've been watching another storm move by north of Kokomo, an area that's already been hit by tornadoes today, could now get in on the action again. This storm, this potential tornado moving to the east, Also on track for Marion. Marion, you were the first people of the afternoon, Gas City too, that we talked about for our tornado risk. Now a potential second round. We don't always see this. A lot of times on a severe weather day, we get one round of storms through, that uses up all the energy, we're done. Things calm down, it's a whole lot better. That's not happening here this evening. The severe weather threat, the tornado threat remains. We have a cold front well off to the west. It's not clearing the area until tomorrow. Doesn't mean we're going to have a tornado risk until then, but it does mean we're going to have a rain and thunderstorm risk and perhaps more severe weather over the course of this next 24 hours, including this evening. And it really is something as you look across the area now, because you see storms scattered about, and then you see a lot of the area completely dry.
Nicholas, I'm picking up some new signs of rotation here on
radar. What are you seeing,
that is just south of Rowan.
Yep.
So this is off to the northwest of Wabash. And so that is with a different, so this is the same cell. You see the red box indicating where we've got the tornado warning right now. That tornado right along US 24 north of Peru, but the same cluster of storms does have more embedded rotation with it, and also the potential of potentially producing another tornado here from the same storm. That is again south of Rowan, identifying some roads that's near. That would be near west 200 north, north 200 west. Again, that's as you make your way into Wabash County. Another area of rotation that we're watching very closely, but still the potential here with a tornado in Peru. That's again along US 24.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, Rob, Peru is what's really, shining out to us on the radar image here. But what you see there, south of Rowan, that's something too. Definite rotation noted there, and an additional area of concern as this storm continues to move to the northeast. Rob, why don't we put a track on that and get some additional cities as it moves farther into Wabash County, because we need some more people to be taking cover in Wabash County right now. It's going to be mainly people from Wabash up to North Manchester. Much of the rain activity there in the county now is non-severe, but with the storms that we've been seeing, it is possible that they could take on that rotation at any time and give us that potential at a tornado within this next hour as they move through. So 623 in Wabash, things will intensify for you. LaGros 628, Andrews at 639, and Salamone Lake at 643 as that line of thunderstorms continues to the east. Huntington eventually, this round, will come your way. And again, I want to also look at that storm down south that could eventually be in Marion. So Huntington 710. That's when the storm that you're seeing there leaving Peru on its way to Wabash County could affect you. Then we have that storm over toward Van Wert, still showing signs of rotation. In between Wilshire and Wren there, continues to be very dangerous, continues to have that potential, every indication of a tornado, and we've had a confirmation of a tornado with this storm. So again, as this moves into Van Wert County, if you are in Van Wert County, you want to take cover right now. Let's go back to the big picture, Rob, because what we're going to see here is that next line of rain and thunderstorms lining up there off to the west means that there's going to be a lot to talk about as this evening continues.
Now confirmed tornado on US 24 with that storm moving through Peru.
Okay, so that takes us back in this direction to this storm right here. Again, that lines up with exactly what we've been saying, where this tornado warning, this is our most recent tornado warning for the storm leaving Peru on the way into Wabash County, perhaps on the way to Wabash, the city itself, up to North Manchester. Its current track kind of breeze it by right on the north side of Wabash there, north of 24. You can see right now the indications of rotation are actually south of 24, there to the northeast of Peru. So our latest timings, we bring it into Wabash about 6:41 and LaGros at 6:51. I know we have Alyssa Ivinson out in the field. She's been surveying some of the damage. Is she available? Can we go to her to get some insight on what she's been seeing and where she is? Alyssa, go ahead.
Hi, Hi, Nicholas. I'm actually in the newsroom, and it has been very busy in here the last several hours. A lot of people calling in, a lot of people sending us photos and videos, not necessarily of a lot of the damage just yet, actually of the actual tornadoes. I want to take some of the videos that we've been getting. This first one here sent to us from Ashley Haydock. This is at Woodland High School. Look at that massive tornado. You can see it's just right beyond the parking lot there. We have a second video also sent to us from that Woodburn tornado. If we can go to the next video here. There it is, this out in the farm fields, but just the size of this tornado is just really shocking. You can see in the clouds there, watch that rotation. You can see that tornado just moving through. We got one from Antwerp, Ohio. These tornado pictures coming in all across from the region. Ashley LeBounty sending us this one again in Antwerp, Ohio. And that's where Sarah Schaefer is heading right now to survey the damage from that tornado there in Antwerp. Also got one sent to us from Hartford City. Look at that twister. This sent to us from Jessica McCoy. Again, that one in Hartford City. We do have several crews all around the area. We have Holly Campbell out in Woodburn, Hannah Strong also in the Woodburn area. Kai Torpesoa was down by Montpelier. He's heading up now toward Huntington. So we are again back here in the newsroom getting a lot of pictures emailed into us, sent to us using our Report It feature. So if you are in a safe place and you can see a tornado and you want to send us your pictures, that's fine, but make sure you get to a safe location first. We did create a hashtag as well, Indiana Tornadoes, so you can send them to us on Twitter or on Facebook using that hashtag. But Brett and Heather, a lot of just incredible pictures coming into the newsroom of these tornadoes creating this damage throughout the area tonight.
Okay, thank you, Alyssa. We just got a report. Rod Hissong is now near Sherwood, where there is a tornado on the ground. Is that right, Rod? A funnel? You see that?
I was watching a funnel cloud. It had been trying to get together for a couple of miles. I'm at State Road 18 and Ashpacker Road, so we're probably 5-6 miles east of Sherwood. I have a tornado on the ground just going by a house. I'm going to move east down 18. I'll track this for you. Nicholas or Rob, I'm not sure what you're seeing on radar here. But the tornado would be just north of State Road 18 and now east of Ashpacker. There was a lot of updraft with it. There were real small cyclones spinning off the ground, but nothing that was connecting. And now it's on the ground. Right now it's going through a wooded area. I'm not sure what's out ahead of it. We're going to be coming up to 66 here very shortly. We are northwest of Defiance. So this right here appears like it's going to miss the bulk of the city of Defiance. And it's moving almost directly east, maybe a slight move towards the north. I'm seeing a lot of trees, a lot of tree branches, a lot of leaves getting kicked up into the air. This thing's rain wrapped pretty good. It's got, let me see here. I'm trying to look. It just looks like it's going through a wooded area, some cornfields over there. I'm sure there's some homes, but it's not more than 400 or 500 yards north of 18. So we're coming up to 66.
Hey, Ron,
18. Go ahead.
Ron, how far are you away right now from Defiance? Where would you be? What part of the viewing area are you there from Defiance?
For people in this area, if you're coming east on 18, you come up to the split with 66. That's exactly where I'm at. The storage facility there on the corner, that's where we are right now. This thing, I got to turn a little bit to the left here to get more northward and out in front of it. But
Rob is saying, Rod, that there's some really strong rotation in that area here. And just for our viewers real quickly, this is happening in real time. So if you're watching this and you live near Defiance and near where you see on that radar, you're going to want to take cover immediately. So, Rod, tell us more about what you're seeing out there.
Well, I'm about ready. I'm going to turn north on 66. I've got a sheriff's deputy I need to get over for here in Defiance County who's obviously tracking the storm as well for law enforcement. Yes, absolutely. If you're north of 18 and now east of 66. So I'm going to take a turn here on, I think it's Stever Road. You need to take shelter immediately. It looks like it may have picked back up, but there is still a good amount of rotation in the sky and a lot of wind. The rain is not terrible, and I have not seen a lot of lightning either, but this is a very active storm cell. This is the cell that Nicholas and Rob have been tracking since it really started to get together around 37 and 469. And it's passing to my east now. So I'm going to try and get out onto the north side of this storm. A lot of tree branches down, a lot of leaves blowing in the air. The rain, as mentioned, is not overly heavy, but the winds are certainly gusty. As this continues to move east, it's going to be just north of Defiance, so not too far from the hospital, actually, but I think the hospital would be okay, but it would be important to take shelter as this tornado is only a couple of miles to the north and west of that area, which is just north of 24. That's where 24 starts to come into Defiance. So at this time, it looks like the tornado's actually dissipated. I'm going to make a little bit more of an easterly turn here on, looks like it's Deerfield Lane, so I'm not even sure if it's actually going to be a road, but I want to go down here a little ways and look.
All right, thank you so much, Rod. We have some other tornadoes that we need to talk about right now. We are tracking multiple tornadoes or possible tornadoes all throughout the viewing area.
Yeah, it looks like something's headed toward Van Wert right now, so let's hand things back over to Nicholas so we can take a look at it on the radar.
Again, getting word of a large and damaging tornado in Van Wert County with this storm that we see here on radar, indications of rotation right here to the east of Wren, north of Ohio City, tracking to the northeast. Van Wert, you are in the line of fire. That's why you are in this tornado warning. Almost all of Van Wert County in that warning as we speak. So take shelter. Get in that safe spot. We have seen with the storms this afternoon and evening, very significant damage being reported from multiple storms across the region, and there's no reason to believe this one is not going to do the same thing, especially with this confirmed large and damaging tornado on the ground there in Van Wert County. Ohio City, 637, Van Wert, the city itself, 644, Venedocia, 653, and Middle Point at 655. Again, this being just one storm of multiple storms that we're tracking region-wide. We go off to the west. Here's Wabash County, here's Grant County. More potential for rotation and tornado-producing storms. Right now, we're starting to see heavy rain in Wabash County, especially from Wabash off to the west to the county line there, in between Peru and Wabash. We've been watching that for potential rotation. We've seen signs of it, still getting some signs of it here as the storm and its energy moved closer to Wabash. So I want everyone in Wabash to be in their safe spot. If you're in the county with the storm coming through, let it pass. Don't worry about sending us photos now, just stay safe. As storms pass this evening, if you have damage around your property, you can send them in to us then, but do not put your lives on the line to get us pictures. We want you to be safe. Let's go down farther to the south.
And Nicholas, it's important to mention, too, that we've been watching that tornado warning entering Wabash County, and even though we are still seeing signs of rotation, it seems that the warning has been dropped as of right now. Still some very heavy rain with that particular storm, as you mentioned.
Right.
But for the most part, no warning with that. We're going to be watching it very closely. Still the warning, though, as that cell moves into Van Wert, and still the warning that Rod Hisson was talking about with that cell that's moving just north of Defiance.
Yeah. Let's go back to Grant County, because that could be one of our next areas that's under the gun. More storms headed that way and tornado warnings that remain just right up to that Grant County line. So perhaps more storms on their way to Marion. Marion, you had the potential for tornadoes earlier on with a storm that moved on through. You're going to get that potential, it looks like here, once again this evening as this storm moves farther to the east. Right now, Kokomo under the gun with that one. And like you were saying, Rob, we can see here the warning
reissued
for
here, Wabash County, but now including Wabash and LeGros.
And no surprise to us. We've been monitoring the radar. We've never really seen the rotation, the indications of it, leave the map. So that's why we've been talking about this potential for a tornado, even though we've had moments here where there wasn't a tornado warning actually in effect. But now it is in effect. It includes Wabash and LeGros for this storm now entering Wabash County, starting to pick up the rain intensity in Wabash, eventually in LeGros. 638 in Wabash, 645 in LeGros, 658 in Salamone Lake, and 659 in Andrews. Remember, we're not just talking about heavy rain, damaging winds, lightning. We're also talking about a tornado threat here, a tornado threat which exists for a number of storms across the region. We're watching the other parts of the line that are out there right now. Rain extends from Warsaw to Columbia City down through North Manchester. At this moment, nothing more than heavy. Oh,
Nicholas,
there
I was
we
saying,
go.
yes, they've just issued a tornado warning.
A new warning.
I was just watching the rotation on this and confirming with some of my other sources, but yes, tornado warning for Kosciuszko, Wabash, and Whitley counties until 7 o'clock. This is radar indicated, so we do not have reports that a tornado is on the ground with this particular cell, but the thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado located near North Manchester. That's moving off to the north and east at 20 miles per hour. So now we, at this point in time, have 4 different storms that we're watching, at least 3 of those confirmed tornadoes. The one that is just now moving off to the west of Columbia City, that does not have a confirmed tornado right now, but the radar indicates that it is capable of producing a tornado with the rotation that we're seeing. So 4 storms that you should take very seriously. Let's widen out the view so you can see all of the storms that we're watching. All of these storms, you need to make sure that you're seeking shelter with them because at least 3 of them have produced tornadoes.
So with this latest storm that's entering Whitley County, this is going to affect places like South Whitley and Columbia City. If you are in those locations, take cover right now. The tornado potential, radar indicated here, on your doorstep. Let's get a timing on this one, Rob, as it continues to move. Again, we're watching it now, leaving Kosciuszko County. It's on the northern side of Wabash County, heading to the northeast into Whitley County, eventually affecting Columbia City. Sidney, 642, South Whitley at 649, and Larwell at 659. We're going to see this head farther to these, so Tri-Lakes, Cherubusco, Dunphy. You're not in the warning right now, but it's not a bad bet to get in your safe spot as the storm continues to head in your direction.
The primary area of rotation that we're watching is just down here. That would coincide with the northeast track of the storm.
And especially if it continues from this location right to the northeast, boy, South Whitley, it's headed right for you. We're going to have to watch that closely. One thing we've seen with all of these storms here today is that they stay pretty stable and steady on their tracks. We're not seeing much of a fluctuation. So again, high confidence South Whitley is going to become quite active and dangerous for you. That's why you need to be in your safe spot. Columbia City, you're included in the mix here as well. We still have Wabash under the gun with a tornado warning. And let's talk about those storms that continue eastward.
Nicholas, we have reports now. I'm hearing from our producer that Rod Hissong is seeing a tornado on the ground in Defiance and describes it as massive. I'm trying to see if we have him on the phone right now to join us.
Yes,
Yep, I'm here.
I think we do.
Okay, go ahead, Rod.
Hey, I am on 66 and Flory Road, a tornado at least 200 yards wide, and it just clipped the corner of a mobile home park. I've had to stop because there's so much damage in the road and to trees down. There are several mobile homes that are damaged. I haven't seen any that have been leveled, but there's a couple that's got some aluminum siding pulled off. Some of the roofs tore back. A couple of utility poles that are bent at about a 45-degree angle. I've got trees snapped in half. I've got trees in the ditch. A couple of sheriff's deputies jumped out and ran over to this house to see if anyone was home or around. I've lost sight of the tornado at the moment, again, because I had to stop. But this thing was several hundred yards wide, 66 and Flory Road. Okay. I'm being told that's the Defiance County Sheriff David Westerfeld, so telling me I need to turn around. So I'm going to try and get north on 66, guys. I'll touch base with you in a few minutes.
Thanks very much, Rod. Okay, very dangerous situation unfolding there. No surprise to us. We've been tracking these storms with the potential to produce tornadoes. A number of tornadoes confirmed. Oftentimes, we're hearing that wording that those tornadoes are large and extremely dangerous. And Rod confirming that for us firsthand with that storm now as it moves farther through Defiance County, just north of the city of Defiance. We also have that tornado-producing storm. They are approaching Van Wert. Rob's indicating the rotation there. That's still showing us a significant signal. Van Wert, take cover. Get to your safe spot right now.
This is moving northeast at 25 miles per hour, Nicholas, and extremely large and dangerous tornado. We've heard this verbiage way too many times today, unfortunately, with all these storms that have been moving through. So as we put a track on this storm, right now, Van Wert, you are in the path of this tornado 646. It will be in your area. 701 at Middle Point. This is a storm that has had a history of producing a large and extremely dangerous tornado, currently located near Middlebury or 3 miles west of Van Wert. And again, that's moving northeast at around 25 miles per hour. Most of these storms have been moving east or northeast at around 25 miles per hour.
And now getting a confirmed report in from Woodburn. We had showed you some pictures earlier of the storms as they moved through Woodburn. Now confirmed reports that the storm has moved out of a barn destroyed and other homes damaged. and that was about 5:30, so about an hour ago. These are the same storms now as they head to the east, still holding damage. The storms on your screen right now, part of a new line of storms that's headed in, and that continues. Let me just talk about this right now. Rob is highlighting rotation that's approaching Wabash right now, where we have that tornado warning in effect. So I want to make sure everyone in Wabash and LeGros taking cover right now. I'm going to throw it back to Brett and Heather.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas, for keeping us up to date. Holly Campbell is now in the Woodburn area. We checked in with her a few moments ago and saw a little bit of the damage, but she's been able to get some video now of the damage that a tornado there has caused. Holly?
We're about 10 miles northwest of Woodburn, and check out this scene here behind me. First, I want to direct your attention to where the house used to be. You can see people up standing on the foundation. The house was completely blown off that foundation. We are told that no one was hurt back in this area, and if you go a little bit to the right of that, that is where the barn and the house both, there's some debris right there. You can see at least 200 people back there helping them clean up this debris already. And if you go further right from that, if you see little white things back there, those are chickens. We're told this was a commercial chicken farm with 20,000 chickens, and you can see them moving around back there. But I also want to take you through the path of this storm. It came from this direction over here. We're going to cross the road and look what it did to this barn here behind us. That barn is completely destroyed. We just talked to some people who said it sounded like a freight train coming through this area, traveling southeast, hit this barn first, hit the barn behind us, and people are just telling us it sounded like a freight train, that it was very scary. We just saw a video of the tornado, or what looked like a tornado, after it went through this area. The sky was completely black. People said that they saw that around the Love truck stop on 24. And we're going to stay out here and talk to people and continue to get some video and check out the damage in this area. For now, we're going to send back to you, Brett and Heather.
We continue to monitor another strong tornado, this one near Defiance. Rod Hissong has been out in that area. He was telling us about it as he watched it, an eyewitness account as that tornado was moving towards the area. We, of course, are going to bring more information on that as soon as we can. But as we've been talking about, this is essentially a tornado outbreak that's occurring here in northeast Indiana and northwest Ohio. Tornadoes have been popping up all over the place. They continue to pop up, and this storm continues to regenerate itself to the west. So we're not done with this by any means.
No, and we're not talking about just one spot that's being affected. We have people all over our viewing area impacted by these storms. We have Hannah Strong, meteorologist Hannah Strong, and a photographer on their way right now to Columbia City to take a look at what's going on there. As we said, we have Rod in Defiance, Ohio. Kaitor Pessoa and his photographer, Cody Murphy, are in the Huntington area as we speak, gathering information, seeing what sort of damage has been done there. And of course, Holly Campbell in Woodburn. So we have you covered tonight. Rob Leidig and Nicholas Ferreri in the studio taking a look at the radar as the storms are happening. And
we've been very careful here to make sure we're bringing that to you in real time. As soon as we find out about it, we let you know about the situation that's going on out there. This obviously is a life-threatening situation for a lot of people across the region here. It may not be impacting you directly, but it might be impacting somebody that you know. I'm being signaled right now. We've got to send this straight back over to Nicholas because we have some more information you need to know immediately. And Nicholas.
Yeah, we have a new tornado warning to talk about. We were watching those storms approaching Grant County. That warning has been extended into Grant County, so I want to zoom back down to this storm. Marion was under the gun for potential tornadoes earlier, continues as this storm heads to the east. Again, we're watching this area now. Kokomo still getting pounded up toward Amboy, this heading to the east. Right now, indications, as Rob pointed out there, of a tornado on radar. Right now, it's located 8 miles to the northwest of Swayze, 11 miles northeast of Kokomo. Like a lot of our storms earlier on today, moving at a similar speed to the east at 25 miles per hour. So that's going to bring it into Swayze at about 7:09. So within the course of the next half hour, this is good. This gives you in Swayze time to get back to your safe spot and prepare for this storm's arrival. Again, with this storm, we have the potential to see more tornadoes being produced. We go north from that storm. We're now in Wabash County, around the city of Wabash, up to LeGros. A tornado warning remains in effect just right up to the Huntington County line. You can see the indications of rotation spotted right there in Wabash, near 24. North Cass Street, we're talking, and 24 there. So again, Wabash, take cover, make sure you're in a safe spot, let this storm pass. Things will quiet down later on, but still potential for more development later on tonight. We go up to this storm, South Whitley, up to the north, just east of Pierceton, over to Columbia City. We're looking for some signs of rotation with this storm. We've had indications of it earlier on. It now heads, remember, it's been on that track to get to South Whitley and continue farther to the northeast to Columbia City. We're certainly seeing torrential downpours to the north of South Whitley there.
Nicholas, we have reports of a tornado in Van Wert right now.
Okay, and here it is. We see this storm right over Van Wert. It has had that tornado potential when it was near Decatur. Now it's moved farther to the east, affecting Van Wert. Seeing some signs of rotation there as it gets into the city. No surprise, considering what we've seen throughout the course of this afternoon and evening. These storms, as they've developed, they've had this potential to rotate. We've seen it on radar, and we've also, at many moments, have gotten it confirmed at ground level. So Van Wert, take cover right now. Defiance, I want you to still to take cover, a storm moving through where you are.
Just hearing in my ear, Nicholas, that we have confirmed reports of a tornado in Columbia City on the scanner. So this is a serious storm. Now we do have confirmation that a tornado is on the ground. You need to seek shelter if you're in the path of this storm.
Let's take from this storm, let's go from some of those strongest radar returns and track it out farther to the northeast through Columbia City and get some additional timings, even some of these areas where the warning's not in effect, to give our viewers in places like Tri-Lakes a little more idea. 713 could be in Tri-Lakes. Again, storm headed your way, a potential tornado. We had that confirmation of a tornado around Columbia City. That's what you heard on your end, Rob?
Yes, that's what our producer's telling us from on the scanner at this hour.
Okay, so 707, Churubusco, this storm headed your way. We haven't talked about that Defiance County storm in a while. Let's go back to that one. Eventually, should that storm that's now affecting Columbia City head farther to the northeast, we could be talking about tornado threat in Allen County and the Fort Wayne area yet again. Here we have rotation spotted on radar, very strong winds, now soon to exit Defiance County. Let's put some wind estimates on this, Rob, because those are going to be kind of screaming at us, I bet. 72 miles per hour, yeah. So the damage is just going to continue as this exits Defiance County, heads toward Napoleon. So while it may be headed out of our News Channel 15 viewing area, that ends right here at Defiance County. For all of you in Defiance who maybe had plans in Napoleon, Liberty Center, if you have friends or family in that direction, let them know they have a damaging storm, a very dangerous storm, still with that potential for tornadoes, confirmation of tornadoes with this storm headed their way. This now just one of a multiple number of storms continuing to produce a tornado threat region-wide. Van Wert is our other worry in northwest Ohio right now. Some signs of a more broad rotation, but still something that's significant, not necessarily something that's weak, not something you can just push to the side and not worry about. Van Wert and surrounding communities, you need to be in your safe spot right now. Then here's that line off to the west. This, remember, is round two. This is after those first storms that have moved through. This line lining up right behind it. And again, Columbia City to South Whitley, right now getting some indications of gusty winds.
More broad rotation.
And a broad rotation here, absolutely. Lots of lightning, also very heavy rain. Rob, can we put on some rainfall rates here, please? Because we've been seeing those this afternoon and evening, anywhere between 1 to 2, sometimes approaching 3 inches an hour, and that's what we're seeing here. So remember, also the heavy rain, a very big threat here. It's going to be hard to see tornadoes in many instances as a result of this rain. This rain could cause flooding in a number of spots as a result of it falling at such an intensity. Rob, do you have something new to pass along?
No. Okay. At this point in time, I'm going to be panning off to the south here to take a look at this particular cell. Okay. Notice how they've dropped the warning, or the warning continues for LeGros. They have not extended it yet for Huntington, but I suspect that it will be momentarily. We've got 2 different areas of rotation here that we're watching.
That one and that one right there. So yeah, 2 areas of concern. Sometimes when we have a tornado warning, we're just looking at one spot in one place. Not with this storm. There are those 2 areas popping up. So one is there, west of LeGros. That's along 24. Then Rob, can we get another let's do a track here, and then let's zoom into that second spot. LeGros 652, Salamone Lake 708, Andrews 710. Again, a potential tornado here on the way for you should everything hold together. All those communities get in your safe spot. Andrews, that includes you. So here we are now, north of 24, north of LeGros. There's our secondary or other area of rotation, something that's also concerning for a potential tornado touchdown. So these two areas, around Wabash and then there, northeast of LeGros, just before the Huntington County line. Those would be our two areas to watch with this storm. Also, this storm concerning down to the south, approaching Marion, giving a renewed tornado threat for all of you. Swayze and Sweetser, boy, have we been saying your names a lot. Not just earlier on this afternoon, but a week ago. You had a very similar setup here with a storm tracking due east from Kokomo. Here we go again. And these storms today have shown the potential to be even more powerful than what we saw last week. So again, a severe weather concern all along this line. You can see these multiple warnings that do line up. This is to the west of 69. Then things become pretty quiet for the time being to the east until we get to Defiance and Van Wert. Remember, things are quieting down for Defiance with this storm exiting, but still quite powerful as it nears Napoleon and still carrying that tornado risk. Then we go to that Van Wert cell, moving over Van Wert as we speak. That storm still will take some time to exit Van Wert County. We continue to see gusty winds with this and signs of a broad rotation, indicating the continued risk for a tornado there. We've had confirmations of one in that area. So again, this storm holding itself together. That's what we've seen really with all the storms as they've produced the potential for tornadoes as they've moved across our area. They've never really completely lost it. And that's what we continue to see as more storms move in. They're likely going to hold on to that risk as they move east through our area.
We have some new reports coming in. Dual vortex funnel clouds reported just northwest of Van Wert, consistent with the warning and the confirmed tornado that we had earlier with this particular cell that you see on your screen. With the cell off to the north in Defiance County, several reports of damaged or destroyed mobile homes, and that confirms what Holly Campbell was seeing with this storm as it continues to track off to the north and east, making its way out of Defiance County. But like Nicholas was saying, we are not done yet. We've got another line of rain and storms, and this could be impacting Fort Wayne if it maintains its strength. We have a tornado confirmed, at least reported on the scanner by some folks in Columbia City, and we actually have a crew there. Meteorologist Hannah Strong is on her way to see what she can see in that vicinity too, but we can still see the broad rotation here, large area of reds lining up next to the greens, and that's very concerning as this makes its way eastward.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're zoomed in on that one because we do have reports now that a tornado did touch down in Whitley County at County Line 700 South. So again, County Line 700 South in Whitley County, a tornado has touched down. The emergency manager is sending units to investigate as to any potential damage. So again, here's another instance where we're seeing a confirmation of a tornado touching down, that being Whitley County with this storm. Again, kind of showing us radar indications just on its shape alone that it has that rotation potential. We're seeing this more, broad scale rotation, lots of gusty winds tied up in this as well as lightning and heavy rain. It is now moving closer and closer to Columbia City, eventually Churubusco, and as Rob mentioned, should this all continue to hold together, we would be watching the Fort Wayne area, basically the northwestern side of the county, for that strongest part of this storm to move in. 7:07 in Columbia City, the timing for some of the strongest activity. That's why if you're in Columbia City, you need to be in your safe spot right now. We head farther to the south. This is Highway 24 in between Huntington and Wabash, where we have a tornado-warned storm moving on through. We've had signs of rotation with this storm during the course of the afternoon and evening here. They do continue to hang on. We're going to watch this closely and wait to hear of any damage reports from the Wabash area as this line clears.
Right. Important to note, too, that this warning will likely be extended to include Huntington.
Yeah, because you can see this storm now on its way eventually out of Wabash. Huntington would be the next in line for this storm. So a timeline into Huntington is this: 7:01 in Andrews, 7:12 in Huntington, and 7:17 in Huntington Lake. We have a continued chance at tornadoes with a new storm entering Grant County and the Marion area. This extends down through Kokomo, Indian Heights, where we've seen additional tornado potential. There, indications of rotation as well pop up. So again, the same storm risks that we're seeing with this storm as what we see with the other storms across the area. A new tornado warning there takes us just to the south of Fairmount, Indiana. So southern side of Grant County, south of Marion, I'd still be concerned and still be in your safe spot as the next storm moves in.
The broad area of rotation with that cell that produced a tornado in Columbia City seems to have weakened somewhat, at least enough for them to not issue a tornado warning here for Fort Wayne. But Fort Wayne is included in a severe thunderstorm warning with wind gusts possibly in excess of 60 miles per hour, hail that could be over 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Again, this includes Allen, Huntington, and Whitley counties now until 7:30.
Great, thanks, Rob. So why don't we go and put a track on this and extend it into Fort Wayne, and we'll get an additional timeline here. What I want everyone in Fort Wayne to know here, Rob is noting this correctly and saying, hey, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. Our tornado potential has decreased. We're seeing just that broad rotation, so the Weather Service not extending a tornado warning, but that doesn't mean we're in the clear. A severe thunderstorm warning is still quite dangerous. We're still at risk for those quite gusty winds, still at risk for that heavy rain and some potential flooding as this next round of storms moves through. So Columbia City, 6:59, Dunphy, 7:13, Homestead High School at 7:19, Lutheran Hospital, 7:23, and Fox Island at 7:25. A severe thunderstorm warning just in effect for you. Get inside. Get to a safe spot right now. The weather about to get active again within the city of Fort Wayne. Let's go back to Defiance. We were talking about all of our friends there.
And
that
Heather,
storm
I wanted to
moving
flag
to the
you
east.
real quick. If we could get a power adapter, we're about to lose our Facebook Live. The battery's about to die. If we get a power adapter so we can stay on air for those who may have lost power, that way you can continue getting the latest information from us. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook.
Good call. Thanks, Rob. And then you see, here's that storm exiting Defiance, entering Napoleon. This one leaving our News Channel 15 area, so our focus will be leaving this storm. However, if you know people in Napoleon, let them know the tornado potential remains as this storm approaches you.
And Nicholas, they have issued this as a, I haven't seen this wording yet tonight, so it bears mentioning, catastrophic tornado damage threat with this particular storm. This is the one that Rod Hissong has been following, and you can see why. In fact, if we take a look at some of the winds that are associated with it, in some places probably in excess over 75 miles per hour.
Yeah, this is not going to be good. As Rod kind of described to us with the storm over Defiance. So again, this holding its potential, perhaps even increasing its damage potential as it heads to Napoleon, with the Weather Service emphasizing catastrophic damage. With the other storms that we've seen across our area, we've seen considerable damage. We've seen large tornadoes being reported, including within the city of Fort Wayne and northeast Allen County with a report of a large Wedge tornado. We've seen that video earlier on in our coverage, and the storms that are out there now may not be sending us the same signals of large rotation, of a large tornado potentially on the ground, but still in Van Wert, where we've had confirmed reports of a tornado, still we are seeing returns of rotation on radar that would indicate the potential that this storm is still spinning up a tornado, or at least has the potential to do so as it moves to the northeast of Van Wert and just to the north of Delphus there. Again, here's Fort Wayne. The storm's headed our way, currently pounding Columbia City with rain. We've been watching a tornado potential there. It seems to be shifting more toward a severe thunderstorm, gusty wind, heavy rain potential, and maybe lessening on the tornado side. But I'm not ruling that out just quite yet, because we have seen throughout the day these storms spin up a tornado, then be quiet on the tornado front only to generate a tornado again. So while at the moment we have just the severe thunderstorm warning in Fort Wayne, I want everyone to be on guard still for the potential for a tornado to exist. So this storm, strong winds, heavy rain, Columbia City ongoing up to 7:02, Dunphy 7:17, Homestead High School, some of the strongest activity to you by 7:24. 5.
Nicholas, some new information to pass along now. We have the tornado warning extended now, includes portions of Paulding County. The tornado threat is considerable with this because we have a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado that was located just off to the north and east of Van Wert. It's moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. This is a dangerous situation if you're in the path of this particular storm, whether you live in Grover Hill, Ottoville, DuPont, or Melrose. You need to seek shelter. It looks like it, with the track of it, it may stay to the south of Paulding, but if you live in Paulding County or off to the north and east of Van Wert, you are under the gun for a tornado warning, considerable damage threat with this one.
And remember, flying debris is a major concern with tornadoes, with the strong winds they're going to churn up. That's why you need to be inside. I know this is a situation, you're curious, a lot of people want to head out, see what's happening. Do not do that with this situation. We have had multiple reports of damaging tornadoes across the area, radar confirmed, but also confirmed by train spotters in the field. This has been a quite dangerous afternoon and evening where we have seen quite destructive damage. Let these storms pass. Don't let your curiosity get to you. Take cover now if you are in these warned areas. Again, one of our active warnings right here, this is the next round of storms starting to move into Swayze and the Sweetser areas. Seeing some signs of rotation here on radar, a little bit more broad. What that means is a little bit more wide, not as focused, but still something significant. Still certainly significant enough for the Weather Service to maintain this tornado warning, including the city of Marion.
It looks like that particular storm is located right over Sweetser at this point in time, moving east again at 25 miles per hour.
Yeah, Swayze and Sweetser, as I mentioned, these storms, I don't know what it is about you, but you've had bad luck on the storm front with others today and others last week that gave us a tornado potential. 706 Sweetser, 721 in Marion. Return to your safe spots. You should be there already. Let's head up to the north here again.
Tornado warning has been dropped, notice, Nicholas, for Whitley County, but we still have the severe thunderstorm warning. That continues for Fort Wayne.
And remember, yes, that extends all the way east into Allen County, even though at this time the rainfall that is around Fort Wayne is rather light in nature. Know that it's going to pick up in intensity. Right now, the heaviest, strongest activity around Columbia City. Some broad rotation noted here. We're going to keep a close eye on it to see if any additional tornadoes become possible, but right now that tornado threat has lessened, and we're really monitoring the heavy rain potential and that potential for gusty winds. You saw Rob just plot those heavy rainfall rates in between 1 and 2 inches an hour. That, of course, could result in some flooding, especially in low-lying areas, and this is not a situation where you want to be out on the roads traveling. So from Columbia City to Fort Wayne, just stay home right now. Let these storms pass. This is a type of rainfall where if you're out traveling in it, it's just coming at you full force and you can't see in front of you. Obviously not something that you want to be out on the road in. Churubusco, soon things will pick up in intensity by you. 714 Dunphy, Homestead High School 721, Lutheran Hospital 724, Fox Island at 727, Jefferson Point also at 727, and Carroll High School at 728. On the bigger scale here, that storm has moved out of Defiance County, farther to the east into Napoleon, where we've had word of a potentially catastrophic tornado and potentially catastrophic damage there. We have another tornado warning still in Van Wert County, heading into Paulding County. Let's zoom in again on this storm, Rob, because we had been talking about this one. Still an area of concern for us as it moves to the northeast, eventually on track for Grover Hill, for Ottoville, Melrose, DuPont, and Kalida. You can see right there, still some indication of a rotation hanging on with this storm, why it has that continued tornado potential. Rob, if we can, let's put a timing on this. Again, Grover Hill, Melrose, DuPont, Ohio, are main areas of concern with this storm. Grover Hill 714, Ottoville 718, and DuPont at 729. Let's zoom on out and give a wider perspective, Rob, because it has been an interesting afternoon and evening.
A very active afternoon. This is safe to say that this is a tornado outbreak across northeast Indiana and northwest Ohio.
Absolutely, because we've gone from just seeing indications to getting report after report of confirmed tornadoes, and then report after report of damage throughout the area. This is the second round that's ongoing. Again, a cold front is well off to the west of us. All of this activity firing up out ahead of it, and that cold front's not going to be through until tomorrow. So that's why after we had one round of storms, we still have the potential for more, because until that front exits tomorrow, we're still going to have a rain and thunderstorm chance. It's not always going to be a severe chance or a chance at tornadoes, but with what we're seeing out there right now, that chance does continue because a very strong line of storms remains. And another round entering Fort Wayne down to Huntington, Marion, farther to the southwest, and we continue to see the potential for numerous tornadoes along that line. So Van Wert County into Paulding County, you need to take cover from this storm. Let's kind of go from north to south here, Rob, and highlight areas that
absolutely. And a quick reminder too that we are live on Facebook. A lot of folks have been saying on here that they really appreciate the updates. They've lost power. They're looking for the go-ahead, the all clear. We don't have that at this time yet. However, we're still tracking these storms, and we'll be watching that here momentarily.
All right, again now, this is the second round that's moving into Fort Wayne. We're getting some reports here from a spotter. Let me go see back to where I was.
Now we're seeing some reports, even though we do not have a tornado warning in Huntington County, seeing some reports from firefighters of some funnels south of Bippus on State Road 105.
So lots of rotation and indications of
County.
rotation that we've seen with these storms. And you can see them approaching now Allen County and Fort Wayne again. So right now, Columbia City, Whitley County, down through Huntington, still seeing some quite strong activity. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Whitley County over into Allen County, down through Roanoke. Heavy rain, gusty winds. Our tornado potential has lessened a bit, but it does still exist. I'm not completely ruling it out. I don't want us to completely take our eyes off of this in case we see that tornado potential redevelop. It is certainly possible with these storms. Okay, here's that Van Wert storm again, moving farther to the northeast up to Grover Hill and Ottoville, in between those two locations, still showing continued potential at some rotation. And a tornado warning remains in effect there. Rob, let's go back to our Whitley County, Allen County line that's developing and track that as it heads farther and track kind of everything along this line. Let's just do a north-south pan and talk about who's at risk here. So Cherubusco, heavy rain for you down to Columbia City. All of this approaching Fort Wayne. We have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect into the evening here that now includes Fort Wayne. Farther to the south, Huntington, you're still seeing some heavy rain. No watches or warning.
Nicholas, we actually just now have a tornado warning that has been issued. That it's a radar-indicated storm, and that includes the city of Huntington, just as we were talking about a few moments ago.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located right there near Huntington. And Rob, switch it over to the velocity tool. So again, you can see where that rotation is indicated. Another potentially damaging part of the line of storms that we've seen already be problematic this evening. We're looking here just to the west of Huntington. Remember, greens and reds are the things that catch our eyes' attention. Greens heading up toward the radar in North Webster, the reds coming the opposite way. We get them lining up next to each other. This shows us the potential for a tornado being on the ground, and we wait then for a spotter confirmation. We've had plenty of spotter confirmations with the storms in other spots as they moved on through today. And Huntington, Huntington Lake, Roanoke, Markle, and Aboy, all of you need to take cover now. A potential tornado on the way for you with this storm as it heads farther to the east. Now, areas to the south, still a tornado concern for you. We're seeing rain and thunderstorms in that direction. Rob's keeping an eye on another part of the storm. I'm going to take control of the radar here and move it down farther to the south so we can talk about what is happening in that direction. Again, this would be the Grant County area up to Marion, where we continue to have a tornado warning in effect. You can see heavy rain, lightning, and that continued potential at rotation and a tornado down there in Grant County. We'll put on our velocity tool here, seeing some indications of a broad rotation there to the west of Marion. So this storm continues to hold that potential at a tornado as it moves closer to the city of Marion. So Marion, you need to take cover right now. Swayze and Sweetser, you as well, need to be in your safe spots as this storm bears on through. While much of the area may not be seeing rain right now, the areas that are seeing the rain and storm activity are really getting pounded. This has been a destructive situation here over the course of this afternoon and now heading into the night. We have been on with coverage since about 3:30 this afternoon without one break. That means tornado warnings have been in effect for some part of our area since then. And this coverage has been necessary because we have had this high level of damage seen with these storms from the time they leveled the Starbucks near Kokomo through the time they moved through our area. A damaging wedge tornado spotted in Fort Wayne. Holly Campbell showed us the damage she saw around Woodburn. We had reports of Kaitor Pessoa with the first storm that moved through Marion and the damage he saw there. We've had Ron Hissong on the storm up in Defiance, producing catastrophic damage as it moves farther to the northwest or farther to the northeast through northwest Ohio. And this storm that is clearing the Van Wert area now and in the southeastern